This is the Daily Reports with Casper the Vile Muse. I read the articles that you scroll past the headlines of, so you don't have to. These videos contain information you would not normally see, or that you just don't pay too much attention to. I go a little bit more into detail so you don't have to, or you can actually go and do the research on yourself. These are also articles that nobody's speaking about, and I feel people should know. These are also articles that nobody's speaking about, and I feel people should know. Don't ever listen to anything I tell you guys to do. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just a guy on the internet who makes videos. I'm fighting algorithms, not people. So some of the things I say in these videos, if it's a certain name, I have to say it cryptically. And I really hope that you guys will understand who I'm talking about when I say it cryptically. SpaceX for the first time launched for the U.S. Space Force on June 30th, which carried a third in the new line of modern GPS satellite navigation into orbit from Cape Canaveral. This launch marked the 88th takeoff for the Falcon 9 rocket. Falcon 9 rocket made its debut in June of 2010. This is the 11th launch so far of 2020 that the Falcon 9 rocket has already done.
It was exciting to be able to plane the whole modernized era. Where do we go next? We wanted to add some new signals to support civil aviation. We wanted some higher quality signals for M-code to be able to get anti-jam capability, because we knew that where the direction it was going, that everybody after Desert Storm had realized that we were using this tool that significantly improved our warfighting capability.
Okay, go diplomat right here. Do it.
And so now we knew it was going to start becoming vulnerable. And so we had to start with the next generation. And I really can see now, as we're starting to deploy that generation, we need to start working on what is next. How do we protect ourselves in the future? Because the system is so entrenched in everything we do, whether it's commercial or military, that we need to make sure we can protect the integrity and the accuracy of the system to enable us to move forward.
SpaceX's delayed Starlink launch for an extra 60-ish, almost 60 satellites to be launched has been given a go for Wednesday's new launch date at 11:59. It's a 70% chance that it'll launch. It's got a window for up to 12:05. The Falcon 9 rocket stands in at 230 feet tall. It'll be launching from the Florida Kennedy space pad. This also puts the number of Starlinks in orbit already just under 600. Once the satellites reach low Earth orbit, they'll spend the next couple days to almost a week ascending another 250 feet. In order to measure how much energy and radiation is in the center of our Milky Way galaxy, scientists had to peer through another galaxy jam-packed with 2 billion stars. The galaxy also contained patches of interstellar dust, which is known to contain interstellar dust particles and gases that are harmful. This all comes amid scientists searching through 2 decades worth of data. Researchers find that the structure is moving towards Earth because it was on an elliptical orbit interior to the Milky Way galaxy's spiraled arms. An unknown group of people ripped a statue from Fredrick Douglas in Rochester, New York, from the base. Fredrick Douglass was an abolitionist, and they did this on the anniversary of the same day that he gave the famous speech in 1852. Police stated that the statue was taken from Maplewood Park. It was on a pathway that sits on the Underground Railroad, in which Fredrick Douglass and Harriet Tubman used to shuttle the slaves to their freedom. The speech he gave in 1852 is called "What to a Slave is 4th of July." Police found in the river gorge 50 feet away from the statue itself, which had obviously damage to the base and some damage to the actual statue itself. I guess people aren't doing their history on all the statues that they're ripping down, because it seems to me that at this point they're just ripping down any statue just to rewrite or undo the history. People think the 4th of July is a date of celebration, but they forget the sacrifices and the wrongdoings and all the events that took into account to create the quote-unquote meaning behind 4th of July. If you're going to celebrate 4th of July, be appreciative of it. Understand what the history of it actually is. President DT, at his Independence Day speech, listed a number of wars and some false claiming media stations stated that he said the Desert Storm happened in Vietnam. But then there's later videos released of a longer clip stating that President DT was just listing off a number of wars, and the clip that is currently circulating about President DT incorrectly saying Desert Storm happened in Vietnam showed that he just stated that in a series of statements that he was making. Therefore, people trying to twist the words of other people like they always do. Two to three U.S. naval ships for the first time are sailing through the South China Sea. This is in an attempt to get China to back down and stand down from an invasion on the Philippines. This year, Taiwan was offered to join the cruise, as China and Russia this year were not allowed or did not receive an invitation. This was all done in an effort for the U.S. endorsing communities or countries rather, around the world stand up for the right of all nations to fly, sail, and operate in international law wherever it allows. I don't know why I have to re-report on this, but I guess people are trying to get some of their views reboosted, so I guess I'll retouch on this, because I guess people forgot. So CV-19 is airborne, and scientists are actually confirming this or adding new information to this, but they're airborne, and they're airborne via droplets or aerosols. I'll explain what that is. Aerosol particles are created from sneezing, as the droplets are created and dispersed out from loud talking, singing, laughing, and coughing. The Florida Department reports a case of what's commonly called the brain-eating amoeba in the Tampa area. Since 1962, there's only been 37 cases of the Nigella floweri cases in Florida. There's only 4 people out of the 145 U.S. people to have contracted this that have survived. The CDC also reports that Florida's season for this is July, August, and September. It strives the best at temperatures of 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Chinese inner city Mongolia reported a case of the bubonic plague, which is just one of the plagues that created the Black Death pandemic. The city in which the case was found in was Bayanur, which is northwest of Beijing. China is officially going now into plague prevention mode, level 2, which is the second out of 4 levels for the rest of the year. The plague is caused by bacteria and is transmitted through flea bites and infected animals. It is one of the most deadliest bacterial infections known to the human. In the medieval ages, the Black Death plague killed 50 million Europeans. Antibiotics can prevent complications and death if administered quick enough. While making an appearance on multiple Sunday morning political shows, FDA Commissioner Stephen Hahn stopped short of defending President T's current statement of the CV-19 in the U.S., including the denial and dismissal of a statement President T made about 99% of all the CV-19 cases are harmless.